What is going on, world and beyond? We got an exciting YouTube video for you today, a PowerPoint presentation, but a fun one on how to build more credibility with your potential clients in 2021. Without further ado, let's hop into it. So the first thing we have to ask ourselves are, why are clients so skeptical? So many salespeople out there are selfish. So many salespeople out there just say what the other person wants to hear to get what they want. And unfortunately, due to this status quo, it makes our job as entrepreneurs, as agency owners, so much more difficult because we're constantly fighting and battling the status quo of bad salespeople. So I want you to walk into every conversation with the client and walk in given the fact that they will have their guard up. People have their guard up for a reason, because they've been screwed, they've been gypped, they've been misled, or their feelings have been hurt. And so we need to understand, especially if we're doing cold calls and sending cold emails, that we are fighting this status quo at every level. So contextually, we need to understand that clients are skeptical for a reason, and they deserve to be. Imagine if someone cold called you today and they said, I have $1 million for you, no catch. Your guard is going up completely. So the same thing for you. You need to walk into the conversation, especially a cold one, and assume that they will have their guard up and they don't trust you, and they respectfully shouldn't. But your goal and your job as an entrepreneur, as a true entrepreneur, is to provide value at every level and understand their world more than they do. So what is risk? If we really think about it, like, what is risk? I think risk is hard. Risk is scary. Risk is jumping into the unknown with the potential of losing everything that you have. We look at the stock market. Imagine if you put your whole life savings in the stock market. Would you be anxious? Would you be scared? Would you be confident? Risk obviously is tailored to the individual, and certain people have greater risk tolerance than others. But in this world of COVID in 2021/2020, most people have a low risk tolerance. The economy isn't as strong. The world has changed around us. People have to wear masks 24/7. Risk is something that people don't want to involve in. They don't want to take part of that. They want to mitigate their risks as possible. And your job as the entrepreneur is to mitigate that risk. Show them that the investment with you and your company and yourself is the solution to their problems and is mitigating all of that risk. You need to walk into that conversation, this proposal setting, and understand what they are thinking of is risky. What do they define as risky in what you're trying to solve? If you're a digital marketer and they have zero social media presence at all, to them, risk is getting involved in social media. So really understanding, what is your prospect's risk tolerance? What is the reason why you're having a conversation? There's a reason you're having a conversation with them, because they're stuck. They have a problem that they can't solve, and they're hoping that you can solve it. But again, they have their guard up because they've been burned before, they've been gypped before, and they want to mitigate risks. So walking into that conversation knowing that your job is to mitigate risk, your job is to be the solution and understand worst case scenario, best case scenario. Risk, mitigate it by any means possible. Educate, 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 educate. My favorite word. Content marketing realistically is all about educating. It's about teaching something to someone before they know about you, teaching them why they should post content. I'm a digital marketer, and I post content almost daily that hopefully inspires people that there's value in posting. I need to educate people. There's a lot of people out there that are scared. There's a lot of people out there that are confused. There's a lot of people out there that are lost. My job as an agency owner for digital marketing is to educate people. Educate them that TikTok is actually a very hot platform to be and post your content right now. That TikTok is not something that you should steer clear away from. That LinkedIn is also a great platform right now to post organic reach. It's about educating. It's about teaching people. It's about bringing the knowledge to them and not assuming that they know this already. Educate, especially if we're dealing with older clients. If I work in digital marketing, odds are that you might have a lot of older clients who don't get social media, who don't understand social media because they didn't live in it, like perhaps someone my age, right, 24. And so educating them on the power of social media, educating them on how their competitors are leveraging social media. How do you bring the information as easily and consumable and transparent as possible to them? It's through your content, it's through your questions, it's through your emails. How are you constantly educating the people around you at every level? Educate, educate, educate. Your job is to teach, to show, to learn at the end of the day. The best teachers are people who love to learn at the end of the day. This is actually one of my favorite ones as well. It's called Do the Work Up Front. I did a video on YouTube called The Zero Sum Game is the Zero None Game. And it basically says that this mentality that I will only do something for you until I receive something in advance. Again, that's the zero sum game. It's I will only do something if I receive something first. And unfortunately, when you're first starting off as an agency owner, as an entrepreneur, you need to take initiative. You need to show some legwork up front. Let me give you an example. If you want to propose a potential client an idea that you have for a video, for an illustration, for a logo, do some of the work up front. Show them what you're thinking. So many people just say what they're going to do. Yeah, this is what we have in mind. This is what we're going to do. Show them. How are you showing that you're taking the extra step, the extra level of professionalism and doing a little bit of the work to show them the future state, show them the idea, show them visually what you're talking about. Take that action, especially when you're starting off. If you want testimonials, if you want work to show for, ask your friends, ask people in your network. Hey, I want to start this business. Can I do something for free for you so I have something to post on my website? Again, a lot of people wouldn't even consider taking that step. A lot of people will only do things if they get paid. And I understand that. You're a business owner. You need to make money. You need to eat. But if you have no leverage, you need to take initiative. Do the work up front. And in fact, I think this is the best strategy to stand out because who else is doing the work up front? If everyone else in the world only does work until they're paid and you take a little bit of initiative, imagine how you'll stand out. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with data. But if we really think about what data is all about, Salesforce is a CRM for SaaS founders. And it literally tracks everything. It allows you to track everything in your business, from how many dials your SDR made to how many size and subtle tiers your SDRs did after cold calling. And I totally mean that in exaggeration. But what I'm trying to say is, in today's world with technology, we have become obsessed and over-reliant on data. Now, I'm not saying that data is not important, but I'm saying it's what's important, and that's what people look at. They default to data. When they don't know what's going on, they default to data. If they want to make a decision about something, they default to data. So in order to really have some skin in the game, you need to have data. If you're an agency owner and you're pitching someone content, you're pitching them that videos work more than pictures. Show data. Here's some screenshots, potential client. Looks like the video content has performed X% more than picture content. Put some screenshots, highlight the numbers, showcase the data. At the end of the day, people can't argue the data. It's there. And a lot of older people, again, defaulting to this risk, defaulting to mitigating risk. How do I mitigate my risk? You show me the data. If you could show me through data that this is worth exploring, you have mitigated that risk. And when you mitigate risk, you increase your chances of an actual partnership, a mutually exclusive, fruitful partnership. But so many people are just reliant on their website, their content. You can't assume that people will audit you, that people will check out your content. You need to spoon feed them data. You literally need to spoon feed data. Here's data, here's data, here's data. Spoon feed data. It's super important. I have a love-hate relationship with data, but at the end of the day, you need to show something tangible. The numbers don't lie. Implement structure. I just said this earlier. Spoon feeding. Literally spoon feeding to your clients how you're going to implement structure. Spoon feeding to your clients why this is worth an investment, why TikTok is worth posting now than Facebook. Bring it all to them. Don't let them do any work. Bring it to them. At the end of the day, people just want structure. They want to see that what you are doing has structure, that has some process to it. Clients are busy. They have a lot of priorities. Their dads, their moms, their aunts, their cousins, their daughters, their brothers. They're important people, and time is the most valuable asset. At the end of the day, you only have one shot with a client. If you have a meeting with them, how are you going to make the most out of it and prove to them that you are the agency and the entrepreneur for the job? Huge shout out to Keenan, the author of Gap Selling, sales trainer, author. He wrote this amazing book called Gap Selling, and it's a simple methodology. It's understanding where your customer and your prospect's current state is and where do they want to be, their future state. And everything in between is where the value lives. That's the gap. That's where you, as the entrepreneur, as the agency owner, come in as the solution. You are the bridge that connects them between where they are now and where they want to be. So we take a look at this graphic here. Obviously we have Keenan looking very dapper with his cheese and smile here, but it's really just that simple. Don't go into the call, don't go into these conversations thinking about me. How am I going to pitch this? How am I going to close this deal? How am I going to collect this next check? How am I going to say enough to get them to buy? That should not be your mentality at all. Your mentality should be to listen, to ask questions, to understand what is their current state. If they're talking to you, they're in quicksand, they're stuck. There's a problem that has occurred that has not allowed them to get to where they need to be. And it is your job to figure out what that is. What's going on now? I haven't been able to get that many leads and awareness for my business. COVID has limited the foot traffic for my barber shop, and I just can't get business. That's the current state. What is the future state? I want more followers on Instagram. I want more paid business. I want more clientele through the door. I just don't know how. Where the value lives is in between. Well, how much video content are you posting? What's your social media strategy look like? What's your LinkedIn strategy look like? What's your video content strategy look like? How asking questions and getting people to think differently about something they didn't even consider is valuable. If I asked you something that you didn't even consider, that's value, and that's where the gap is. And that's why Keenan wrote this marvelous book called Gap Selling, because it works. Because you understand the pain points, where the challenges really live. If a small business owner has no foot traffic because the school right next to their location, they're all remote, that's where the value lives. And you can continue to harp on that. Well, hey, business owner, you don't have foot traffic. What are you doing? Hey, business owner, how is everything that you're doing combating the limited foot traffic? If you understand where the gap is, you can continue to harp on it, because that's where the value is. That's where they're stuck. That's where the pain points are. And so understanding physically where they are in this graph is going to be extremely valuable for you. being as visual as possible. If you have ever joined Justin Michael's Patreon Discord, you'll know he's a huge fan of Venn diagrams. And I have a sweet little Venn diagram I have for you here, and it's simple. I don't say any words. I am visually showing you what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say here that if you want brand earned and owned content in 2021, you need to be on TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I didn't say those words. I didn't need to write a paragraph about it, but you can infer that from this visual. That's why I love JM's taught me about Venn diagrams. Because imagine you sending this to someone. It makes sense and you don't have to think about it. You're looking, you're visually understanding what I'm trying to say. And that saves them time. It shows your credibility, and it really says 1,000 words here. Granted, at the end of the day, I'm trying to show people that there's opportunity on TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn. But how can I show you more of the coin, more information about what I'm trying to say here? And I think if you can visually depict what you're trying to say through a Venn diagram or anything, then you're going to be in great shape. So what are some value bombs for today's presentation? Well, first off, it's do the legwork up front. So many people are afraid to do work for free. They're afraid to do anything for free because they're afraid that they might not get anything in return. They're afraid that they're going to be screwed if they do things for free. And I'm here to say, when you're starting off, especially, that you need to take initiative. You need to do a little bit of the legwork up front, not only from a competitive advantage, but it's going to give you practice. It's going to give you experience. It's going to give you an opportunity to network, to learn, to connect. Do some of the legwork. Again, going back on this principle of mitigating risk. How do you mitigate someone's concern, fear, uncertainty, doubt about something without you visually showing them what you have in mind? How are you going to solve their problems, and how are you going to take the initiative to show them exactly what you're thinking about? And that comes with taking that initiative and doing the legwork up front. Value bomb number 2 is show all the data. Again, you have to think people are obsessed with data. Salesforce came out and now everyone can track everything. So the fact that if you're walking into the conversation without any data, you're already setting yourself behind. Use some data, construct some data, do some discovery, do some research, see what you can infer. It's so easy on Instagram to see how many views and likes. If you're in digital marketing, that is a perfect barometer or a base level metric to show what does well. If a post did well, it got more likes. If it didn't, it did not. And I know a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with data. But again, if you can show something, it's better than nothing. Show something. It's better than nothing. Value bomb number 3, understanding their gap. Understanding what their current state is, what their future state is, and how you're going to make it happen. Such a foundational, basic methodology, but it's powerful. It's so simple. Every time I'm on a call, I'm focusing current state, future state, current state, future state. Whatever's in the middle, that's where the value is. That's where the value is. I'm constantly telling myself. So feel free to check out that book. We'll have a link down below. But Keenan, you're the man. Thank you so much. And last but not least, the last value bomb, visuals are key. In a world where we're just consuming video content nonstop, pictures, graphics, make your work visual. So many people are sending these long, cold emails, essays, whatever you want to call them, and they're just not cutting it. Why? It's not visual. I can easily tune it out, as opposed to me receiving, if I got a Venn diagram in a cold email and it was super tailored, I'm blown away. I'm blown away. And so these are little things that you can think of and practice and facilitate that will really give you an advantage on your next call with a prospect, on your next cold call. Understanding that at its core, people have been screwed, people have been gypped. And so how are you going to be different? How are you going to add value? And how are you going to take initiative? Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one.